Welcome, listeners. I am here today with special guest Gabriella Yurevich, and she really helps her clients by focusing on women owned entrepreneurs who really desire to create that personal brand that really connects with their audience in a way that builds relationships for the long haul. She's not about that one and done. She's not about that like let's hurry up and go viral tomorrow in a very non-connecting way. She really works hard to help you as the entrepreneur find what it is that you connect really well with your audience with and build upon that. So, welcome Gabriella. I'm super excited to have you here today. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in this field. This is a very different kind of field than what you were used to.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. So, I actually used to be an art teacher, and that's a really long story for another time. But I really got into this because I still wanted to be connected with people. As an art teacher, I am around people 24/7, and social media is like that, but a little different. So, with social media, you're around people 24/7, but online, I'm still big on networking in person as well and then taking those connections offline/online. But I just kind of discovered social media marketing and really got into it more and more. And for a while, I kind of got onto the thing of like, oh, like, how do we go viral? How do we get more likes? How do we get more followers? And now, after being in it for, 2.5 years, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, it takes a lot of work and it's really hard to go viral. And the people that are going viral, you're seeing time and time again where they are not really getting a lot of benefits from going viral. It's exciting to see, all these people are liking and seeing your post, but if they don't have the connections or anything, in place for when they do go viral, they're not really reaping any benefit from it than stroking their ego a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you are in the St. Louis area as I am, and we met networking. And you recently moved from one area to this area here. And what have you found to be some of the biggest challenges as far as networking?
So I just moved from a really rural area in Missouri, like Cape Girardeau area. And there were some opportunities there, but not nearly as much as there are in a big city like St. Louis. So I really have kind of graded to the opposite, making connections and networking here. Moving has been like the best thing for my business to literally ever happen. There's just so much more here. But I really think just from right from the get go of moving here, I was like, okay, like I'm moving here. This is scary. Like, I don't know other business owners here. Like, I need to go out and meet people. And so that was the first thing on my to do list was finding all these networking, events and meetings. And, I would find one and then I'd go to that one and meet people. And those people would be like, oh, you're trying to meet people? Come to this other networking event with me. So, suddenly I'd go to one networking event and they tell me about two more networking events. So then I'd go to those two more and then I'd, be told about five more networking events. So it really was just a thing of, connecting with people. And then, the more you're connecting with people, the more you're connected with people. So it really just was a process of, jumping right in. And then our community and social in St. Louis has just been so welcoming with, connecting me with the people I need to be connected with and, providing me with different opportunities to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta say, I've lived in 3 different states, and this is by far the best, most simple networking in St. Louis than probably any other place that I've ever lived. Now, when I lived in California, I didn't have to network because I just knew everybody. And so word of mouth, we had so many clients, it was crazy that we ended up having to open a whole nother practice. But when I lived in Dallas, it was a little more challenging. So the place that you choose to network can be more simple or more difficult. There's a couple of places that we've tried to do some networking and people are very standoffish. And I'm like, well, do you want to grow your business? I kind of want to, because this whole vibe that you're given is saying no, and so it's kind of interesting how different it can be.
Mhm.
Share with me a little bit about how you make a strategic difference for your clients?
So, kind of like you said earlier, I am not focused on going viral or really any vanity metrics at all. Followers, good to have followers. It's good to have followers and engage so you get more likes. The more people engage, the more views you do get. However, I am much more concerned with them, making those connections and building their community. And I would rather my people have, 200 followers and, 150 of those followers be super into what you're doing, super into what you have to say, like super invested in who you are and what you do, rather than have, 10,000 followers and you have 500 of those people semi interested in what you have to say, maybe some of the time. Like they're just clicking through and like, you just happen to come up. That's not really that helpful. So for me, I found, I used to be, like I said, really focused on like, oh, I want to get more followers, I want to get more followers. And when I stopped caring about how many followers I had, I've attracted a lot more followers a lot easier because I'm not worried about those things. So it's just kind of been a natural thing where it's like, yeah, if you do form connections with people, they do want to be your friend.
Yeah. You can have a million followers and all of them be disengaged, or you can have you the 150, like you're saying, and have them be, like, listening, like, attentive
Yeah, like
people.
locked in.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Now, you love sharing the importance of building a community and networking online, but also in person as well. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so with my CRM, I like even just looking at it today and scrolling through and seeing, who do I even have on here? Like, who have I met this year? And like, way over 50% of the people that I have in my CRM is from networking events at this point. And most of my warm and like almost all of my warm and hot leads are from in person rather than online. And that varies from day to day. I still do get people online, but it is a lot easier to form connections and bonds easier and quicker face to face because people can, kind of get the feel for if you're authentic or you're just BSing them. So it's just a lot easier to kind of, oh, like you do such a, yeah. And I'm like, red flags, like, we're gonna work well together. I'm gonna see myself in this con. There are always a few people that you're like, "I don't think we're gonna work well together."
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've had to
I guess
go
it's just
through.
easy then after that too, because people always wanna hand out their business cards, and what I have found is that a lot of people want your business card and then they don't follow up. So that's something that I'm really like, if someone gives me their business card and I want to connect with them within like 24 to 48 hours, like ideally sooner rather than later. And, follow them on social media, connect with, if they don't have email, send them an email. That way we can stay connected. Because if I see them at a networking event, maybe I'll run into them at another networking event eventually. But if we're connected online and most people are online every day, then we'll probably have an interaction at least once a week, if not most
Mhm.
every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, speaking about, like, meeting people, networking, I'm sure that you've met a lot of people that are like, "Ugh, social media."
That's most people. Most people are like, "You like that?" I'm like, "Yes, if I could only do the social media part of owning a business and none of the rest, I'd be happy if everyone's just like, we're the opposite. Like, we would rather do anything but."
Yeah. Yeah. And so for someone who, like, let's say they don't have an online presence, they really don't even know, like, where to begin. What are some of the suggestions you have for them, like, moving forward? Of course, having you do it for them is the most ideal, right? Because you're going to get them from point A to point B way more faster than they could do it, especially if they absolutely hate it. And I hear business owners all the time talking about how they hate social media, and it's interesting, a lot of us didn't have to grow our business that way. Like, we a lot of us have been in business before social media was such a big thing, and so I can understand that. But, like, for you, you're young, like, this is something you've known. You've grown up with social media, you know what I mean? But in everybody else's business too. And so making that social traction, like what you do, is really key to get that word out there and have that social presence so that you do look legit too. And so tell me what are some of the key things that you've noticed are big game changers for business owners who are starting?
So, first of all, I would say showing up consistently, which means having kind of some sort of routine, consistent posting schedule. And if you get on Instagram, you'll see here a lot of the social media gurus saying, oh, you need to post 3 reels a day, you need to do this, that, and the other. That's not obtainable even for me. I don't even do that for my clients. That's overkill unless you have like a huge business and you have a whole marketing team that you can hire.
Mhm.
That's an outrageous expectation, but just you're not gonna see the benefits of that. Realistically, even if you're only posting once, twice a week, if that's all that you could manage, I would rather you post once or twice a week than not at all, or be like, okay, this month I'm gonna post every single day, and then you get burnt out. Then on month two, you're not posting anything. So it's really just coming up with a schedule of, what you can long term sustainably commit to that you can follow through with. And then, if you are like, okay, like comfortably, I can do this, let's up it up this next month to, 3 posts instead of two, and then go from there. Cause you can always increase. I mean, you can always decrease too, but it's easier to start small. So I would say that's the first thing. Also, using a scheduler. So you could use like Meta Business Suite to schedule your posts in advance and kind of batch create content. That way you're not like day of being like, oh my gosh, I need to post something today. I don't even know what to post. That way you can just come up with it, yeah, just all at once, and then you don't have to worry about posting it's already done and scheduled. Second thing I would say that a lot of people miss out on is Instagram stories. So that is the primary way that I connect with and engage with my audience. I post just fun personal things of like what I've got going on in my life, what I'm doing today. Like before I hopped on here, I was like, oh, like I'm recording some podcasts that I'm guesting on today, and tag the people and that sort of thing. And then later on today, I'll share some story selling stuff where I'm like, here's my offers, here's how you can work with me, that sort of thing. And including some sort of sticker engagements for people to like tap on or, participate in a poll that kind of gives me some gauge of if people are, possibly a warm or a hot lead, if it's like, they're struggling with things that I can help them with just to kind of get a gauge and pull people in on my CRM and focus in on those people. Those are really the biggest things.
That's awesome. And you have the ability to help large and small businesses, correct?
Yep. Any
Yes.
size.
And is there anybody specifically that you like absolutely love working with? Like, is there a niche or like medium, small, large?
Really just so I have previously worked with like really any type of business you can imagine. I've worked from CPAs, bookkeepers, Airbnbs, coffee shops, Mexican restaurants, in the agriculture industry, in the healthcare industry. Like I've been around everywhere, a book publisher. But really, what I found is I like the businesses that are more, personal brands because, you can be all corporate and slap your logo on everything all day long, but that's not personable at all.
Yeah.
And it's boring. It's boring to create, it's boring for the consumer to consume. There's already so much information out there where if people wanted to know something, they can just Google or ChatGPT or, there's so many options these days they can, ask, whatever. Information is so accessible. Not that you shouldn't be sharing information that, educational and helpful, but you do need that added layer of connection. People that know you are going to trust you and be loyal to you. They're more likely to buy from someone that they know rather than a logo, where they have no connection to it all. So that's really kind of where I'm kind of going towards now is working more with people who, are a personal brand and want to connect with their audience and want to be real. So that's not really quite a niche, but it is
Yeah.
in a fun way.
It really is. Yeah. And it's very diverse. And I love that you have the art teacher background. So, creativity is your game.
Yes, yes, I love working with creatives. That's like my dream. Anyone that's creative and wants me to have fun with their social media and just make it look fun and exciting, like I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's really cool. What do you like most about what you do? Is it the creative part?
I I don't even know. I love all of it. I I think part of the reason that I like it is because there is always just so much going on with it. Like, there's always something different to do because as an art teacher, like, no day is ever the same. Like, it's just constant chaos of running around. I would say it's definitely a lot less chaotic than that job, but it still is a lot of, one day I might be on like recording podcasts and on Zoom calls all day, like today. Another day I might be, making stuff on Canva all day or, filming reels or, it really just kind of depends. I really like talking to people though. I think that's like my new favorite thing. It's like I feel like I used to be like, oh, like I love like being on Canva and creating things, which I still really do a lot. But I'm finding lately that I'm really enjoying.
Yeah, me too. I do love it too.
I like a good yap.
I know, right? You offer community courses, right? So if somebody's wanting to kind of learn more about how you help, number one, or if maybe they want like a DIY, this is something that you offer in the community as well, right? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I have a community builder program that I just launched at the beginning-ish of this year. It's been a long time coming just because, I kind of found a gap in my services of, I really am passionate about building a community, but I really wasn't delivering or educating my clients on that, on how to do that. So that's why I created that. So any of my clients that I do their social media marketing for them, they also automatically get this program. So they, not really behind the scenes, but so they can on their end also still be an active participant in connecting with people without having to be the one that's creating the content. They just get to do the fun part of being social and connecting with their people. But I also offer this as kind of like a one-off separate. So if you, aren't ready to hand over your social media to me or you don't have the budget for that, whatever it is, I do have the community builder program where it teaches you, how to connect with your people, how to find your people, how to show up in your stories daily, putting them in your CRM and just connecting with them and, keeping up to date with them so that you can hopefully convert them so you can make more sales.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you really heavily bring in that storytelling component because that is what is so profound in the authenticity, I feel like.
Yes.
It's so different than this AI generated post, that we see yeah. And so you do those in person and online?
Yeah, so I am the one that's local in St. Louis. I like, my local people because I like to meet up in person and do things, but I also have clients all over through the country. So I've even worked with people in the UK before. So it's the time zone is a little tricky and fun to navigate, but I've done it. We've made it work. So yeah, I will work with anyone and everyone just about wherever you're at.
Yeah, that is so exciting. And you have quite a few different things to offer. So whether somebody's looking for a personal brand or more of like a brand kit, boot camp type thing, done for you services and packages, all of those things available. And you even are offering our listeners a complimentary gift.
Yes, so I have the personal brand blueprint, which is kind of a little small introductory into the community builder program. It's also part of that. And we dive a little deeper in that in the community builder, but it really just kind of gets you thinking about, who your target audience is, as you've probably heard before. I like to call target audiences my dream people, dream clients, dream customers, but really just kind of narrowing in on who your people are, how you serve them, how you can connect with them, and really just kind of taking a deeper dive into, how your personal brand kind of helps solve.
Yeah, I love that because I run into a lot of business owners that don't know, and so I love that you're helping them find clarity in that because once you get really clear about who you're talking to, that makes all the difference because the language becomes different. And then you're talking really heavily focused to that audience, which makes all the difference too, right?
And I also find a lot of times, when I will talk with clients or groups of people and we're kind of trying to process through, who their people are, it's very surface level. So even like the other day, we're trying to be like, okay, what's your audience's pain points? And it was very like, the pain point is they fear this. And it's like, okay, why? And, they elaborate more. It's like, okay, because so it's like just kind of digging, kind of getting more to the root of things and really, taking the time to understand your audience deeply. Cause like, yeah, you can come up with some basic generic pain points and that's easy. Anyone can do that.
Yeah.
But if you really want to connect with your people, you really have to know your people deeply.
You do. Yeah. I 100% agree. There was a point where I was in like a transition, and in that transition it was kind of unclear because I'm navigating into uncharted territory, right? It was really difficult to articulate who it is that I was looking for and what problem I solved because I wasn't really clear on what it was, right? But the minute that I became clear on, oh, this is who I serve, this is how I do it, I help you go from here to here, and these are the tools and the steps, all of a sudden it was like the floodgates opened, and then I found my people. It was interesting, and it wasn't them, it was me being clear. That was that catalyst. And so I wholeheartedly believe once you become that dialed into your niche or micro niche, whatever it is that you want to call it, it really does help you find your tribe so much more easily because they're out there searching for you, you know?
I think because if you make a broad statement of like, oh, you'd have 100 people be like, okay, like that's me. But if you get way more specific than that and someone's like, oh crap, like that is me, like how did you know?
Yes, exactly. So very true. The gold's in the details, right?
Mhm.
Absolutely. Well, how would someone get a hold of you, Gabriella, if they wanted to work with you with Social Traction Studios and dive more into what you offer?
Because I do social media marketing, I'm on social media, primarily Instagram, all of the time, always, probably way more than I should be. It's my favorite way to procrastinate. But you can also find more on my website at socialtractionstudios.com.
Awesome. That's really cool. Like, I had no idea it did all that.
Mhm.
Said is I have a hard time.
It's really great for like kind of generating and qualifying leads from, your current audience on stories. It's really good for that. That's my one of my new favorite things about Instagram.
Very cool. I'm gonna have to take one of your classes because that sounds amazing. I need to learn more about that. So it's not something I'm like super, super great at. Facebook all day long, LinkedIn, yeah, but Instagram just never really.
Yeah, so I've tried to get more into LinkedIn and I know it would be good for me to be on there. I just don't love it.
Yeah.
I like Instagram.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, if it works, if that's where your drive is and it's working, that's the thing too. Like I tell people you got to choose what platform's going to be the best for you.
That's the other thing is, yeah, you don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to be on 20 different platforms. Choose one or two and stick with it.
Yeah, I love that. That's such great advice, and I've found that to be so very true. Your tribe will be where you are, and one platform that you love, you can operate like and then you don't have to operate in the part where you're like, "I absolutely loathe this," you know, having to do this kind of a thing, you can show up better for your people and your tribe. So
Well,
very awesome. I so appreciate your time and being here, Gabriella, and it's been wonderful to connect with you. We get to meet in person here in St. Louis and network, which is so fabulous. And any last thoughts or anything else you want to share?
I would love to connect with any of you on social media and however. I love to yap. I love to connect. So I hope you guys will send me a DM and connect with me.
Wonderful. We so appreciate you. And listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for more wonderful connections in our community. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share this channel. We depend on you to help grow this, to get the word out. And we so appreciate you. Thank you so much.